Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This is Gritworks. My name is Derek, and this is the podcast where we're going to dive into real estate strategies, growth mindset, and how to make your business thrive. Today, we're continuing on our special four-part series on disc profiling. Last week, we talked about the dominant personalities. What the disc profile allows us to do is just a powerful tool for understanding client behavior and how to build stronger relationships for our clients. This week, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to be focusing on the next key personality type in DISC, which is the influence, the I personality type. And we're going to refer to them in this episode as influencers. If you have ever had a client who lights up the room with their energy, tells captivating stories, and gets excited about all the possibilities of every single home that you show them, you've probably met an influencer. That is the clients that are spontaneous, they're social, they're the life of the parties, they thrive on connections. You probably have someone in mind that you're thinking of right now that meets that description. They're the life of the party. They're just the people that are super, super extroverted and outgoing. When they are house shopping or when they're looking at homes, they're not just looking for a house, they're looking for a home that feels right because influencers are all about the feeling. They're not really driven by technical details so much, but they're inspired by the emotional experience that finding a place for them and calling it home means for them. So, in today's episode, we're going to explore who influencers are, how to build rapport with them, and most importantly, how to keep them engaged and excited throughout the entire process. Again, we're going to be pulling insights from the book Surrounded by Idiots. If you haven't picked it up and read it yet, highly recommend so. It's by Thomas Erickson. And in the book, Erickson refers to influencers, the I in the disc profile, as yellow personalities. So again, Surrounded by Idiots is a book that breaks down the disc profiles and show how understanding these personality types can change the way we communicate with them. And we're going to break down that today so that you guys can better understand how to work with influencers, the yellows, the eyes, those clients, those people that are super extroverted and outgoing. Let's get into it. So who are influencers? We went through it a little bit before, just given the background. And another question we want to be able to ask and answer is how can we, as a real estate agent, make sure we're connecting with those influencers, with them, in a way that builds trust and excitement? It's a little bit different than our dominant personalities. Influencers are all about enthusiasm, connection, and inspiration. These are the clients who get excited about possibilities. They love sharing stories and often have a contagious optimism about them. The influencers are probably those people who always see things as like glass overflowing. They never see it half full or half empty. It's always overflowing with positivity. When you're working with an influencer, you're not just selling them a house. You're selling them an idea of what life could look like inside of a home. It's very, very crucial to understand about influencers. When we are working with them, we're not just selling them a house, we're selling them the idea of what life could look like inside of that home. They are often focused on the experience and the lifestyle that a home offers rather than getting bogged down with all the details. For influencers, it's all about how a space makes them feel, how they can entertain their friends, and how the house fits into the bigger vision and purpose of happiness for them. So let's break down some key traits of influencer personalities. Influencers are naturally social people. They love talking to people, building relationships, sharing thoughtful ideas. They're the clients that will chat with you, not just about the house, but literally everything about their family, their hobbies, maybe what they had for dinner last night, their pets, what they did last week, where they were going on vacation, any conversation that they could have. They're the ones that are going to have it because they thrive on connection. And they want to feel like they're working with someone who gets them and someone who makes them feel more like a friend than a real estate agent. Imagine you are showing a house to an influencer or working with an influencer. Don't focus on the technical details. Don't focus on the number of square feet that are in the house or how big the lot is or how much the utilities are. That's not really what they're interested in. They're more interested in the picture of what it looks like to live in that house. So, using words like, imagine when you guys buy this house, what you could do with the backyard, having your friends and family throwing parties, like it's all about the idea of living and the experience inside that home. That's the most important thing to an influencer personality. For them, it's all about that experience of living in the home. It's not just about the numbers or the small details. Think back to a time when you have been showing homes to a client and they instantly started talking about where they're going to decorate for Christmas. That is the perfect personality of an influencer. They're the ones that are going to walk around the home and they're going to start moving themselves into the home and placing their furniture literally everywhere inside the house. They're going to imagine where the Christmas tree is going to go, where the couch is going to go. They're going to rearrange the bedrooms. Like that is just classic influencer behavior. They're not just seeing walls and floors, they're envisioning their life unfold inside the home, and they themselves are moving inside of the house, inside their minds. And so, as their agent, you want to encourage that vision, helping them paint the picture of what life might look like and the lifestyle that they could have inside the house. That to them is how they make purchasing and buying decisions. Influencers are incredibly enthusiastic people. And sometimes they're incredibly enthusiastic, and that could be a fault sometimes. They get excited very easily and can often see the potential in everything. That can be great, especially when you're showing houses, but it could also not be great because they're going to fall in love with several houses because they move themselves into every single house. Making a buying decision can be a little bit difficult for them because they fall in love with multiple options. The enthusiasm, the incredibly optimistic influencers, it's also a double edged sword because it can make it hard for them to narrow down their choices. We've all had those clients that we've worked with where we showed them a couple homes and they can't narrow it past two or three. They fall in love with two or three houses and it's hard for them to start figuring out which one is going to make the most sense. But with influencers, they like seeing things in a new light. So helping them and going back to their original goals and visions that they had when you first started working with them is very important in helping them narrow down their purchasing idea and getting through kind of the veil of what multiple different options could be had. That's where a buyer consultation is very important, not for every personality type, but really for eyes, because we have to bring them back to their priorities, which is what we can help them do as their agent. For an influencer, narrowing down choices isn't just comparing features, it's how the house makes them feel. And as their agent, we have to guide them gently towards the right decision without dampening enthusiasm. Influencers are visionaries, while more detail oriented, what we would call dominant personalities, or the C that we're going to learn in a couple of episodes, might only care about the numbers or different details of the house. Influencers think about the bigger picture, how the home fits into their dreams and into their lifestyle. They're often less concerned about the specifics of a home and more interested about how the space makes them feel and what kind of memories they're going to make there and how the property aligns with their overall goals for the future. In the book, Exactly What to Say, Phil Jones talks about simple swaps. So it's what we would typically do, and we swap it for something that's a little bit different. What we have to do when we do simple swaps with eyes, with influencers, is swap to more feeling based narrative. Instead of telling details like this home has 2,000 square feet, you can simple swap it to this home has a really nice open concept layout that's perfect for hosting gatherings. I can use the details to my advantage by sharing with an influencer the thing that matters to them, and that's the feeling that the home could give them. Because they don't really care about how much square footage it is because they can see how big it is. We want to say it has a really nice open concept, perfect for gatherings, hosting parties, get togethers, just like what you said you guys love doing. And that's what you guys are looking for in a house. Is that right? An influencer doesn't care as much about the exact things that the home has, such as square footage. They care about how it makes them feel and how it fits into their lifestyle. Hopefully, you can start seeing the trend of what's the most important thing to influencers. They are highly creative people. And so they love to imagine possibilities and what life could be like. And like what we said earlier, they will move themselves into the house. They will start talking about how they can transform the space, what could go where, what they need to purchase to make the space their own, how they're going to set things up. They're going to start rearranging. They're probably even going to start taking down walls, to be honest. We've all met those people that are a little bit too optimistic, that just want to break down every single wall that the home has so they can make it even more open and inviting. This creativity can be an asset for them, especially if they're considering a home that needs a little bit of work, because they're not shy from it. They'll be excited about the opportunity to make it their own, and they can see the potentials where others might not see it. That can also be a fault of theirs because they might be too optimistic, that they might get in over their head with a bigger project than they signed up for. Creativity comes, like I said, it comes with that risk of overestimating what's possible. And it's our job as the agent to keep them grounded, reminding them of consciousness, budget, timeline constraints. But we have to do it in a way that doesn't diminish their excitement, because the eyes can be really overly optimistic. Now that we've covered what makes an influencer's identity, let's talk about how we can build a rapport with them. Because influencers are driven by connection, excitement, and personal relationships. They want to feel like you're in this journey with them, not just as their agent, but as someone who shares this excitement. Last episode, we talked about the dominant personalities and how we can gain rapport with them is just by feeling like you know them and that they just get you. This is all about we're in the journey together with them. And so the most important thing that we can do with an influencer is build that personal connection. They're more likely to trust and work with us if they feel like we can be on the journey with them. This means taking time to ask about the things that matter to them: family, hobbies, what they're passionate about, all the things that don't necessarily deal with the house. Because again, it's not about just showing houses or listing houses, it's about building a personal connection with them at a high level that feels like you're on a journey. When you're showing them houses, ask not just about their housing preferences, dive deeper into what makes them excited. For example, if they love hosting events, you could ask them questions like, what's your ideal space for entertaining? Is it located inside or outside? Ask them really good, open ended questions so that you can better understand what they're going to be using the space for. You can ask another question like, how do you imagine using this backyard or living area for your next get together? The more open ended questions we can ask, the better. By showing genuine interest in their life and passions, we get to build a stronger rapport with an influencer that makes them feel comfortable opening up to us. When they feel that they are connected to us, they will trust us more and they will lean on our guidance throughout the whole process. Influencers don't just want a house, they want an experience. When you are showing homes with them, focus on each space and how to make them feel and fit to their bigger picture, and then use descriptive language with them that helps them envision themselves living there. With the I personalities, we taught how they will move themselves into the home. We have to help them move themselves into the right home for them. The next time you're showing an influencer, let's imagine it's an amazing home with amazing backyard. Instead of focusing on the details, just ask the client, can you picture a nice, huge, big summer barbecue out here? Or what would it look like to have your all's next family get together around the fire pit, here in the backyard, kids running around? Wouldn't you agree that this space is made for hosting? That kind of language, it resonates with an influencer. It's about painting the picture, the lifestyle that they want to create. It's not about the features of the home. Influencers thrive on positivity. If the process becomes too serious or stressful, they might lose interest. or start to feel overwhelmed, because it's important to keep things fun and light and exciting, even during tougher moments like negotiations or home inspections, because we want to try to make every step of the process feel like an adventure because we're on that journey with them. It's not just transaction based. For example, when we're discussing an offer, frame it as this is the next exciting step so that we can secure you guys the dream home. It's the moment we've been waiting for. So let's get that offer in and get one step closer to making this home the reality for you guys. It's just different language that we have to use to keep them engaged and excited. I know it kind of sounds a little silly, but it does go a long way. Let's talk about some of the common challenges that you might face when working with an influencer and how to handle them with confidence. While influencers' enthusiasm is a strength of theirs, it can also lead to decision fatigue. They might fall in love with multiple homes or get distracted by new ideas that pull them away from the original priorities. But as their agent, it's our job to gently guide them back to what's the most important thing to them that we discovered in the buyer consultation. So if they're torn between several homes, remind them of their core needs, like the things that really matter to them. For example, you could say, I know you guys love both houses, but let's think back to what we originally talked about the first time we met with one another, and that's X, Y, and Z. So which of these homes fits better to that priority? Because they see potential in every single home, they might struggle to narrow down their choices and make a final decision. So help them focus on their original goals. By keeping the focus on the most important needs, we can guide them towards a decision without taking away their excitement. Like we said earlier, influencers thrive in a fun, engaging environment. If the process becomes too serious or bogged down in technical details, they may lose interest. This is especially true during parts of the process that are less exciting, like all the paperwork, negotiations, the home inspections, the appraisal. They just want it to be fun. So keep it light and exciting. Influencers are big picture thinkers. While this can be a strength, it also means that they might overlook some practical aspects of the home buying process, like sticking to their budget, because they think that it kind of goes out the window when they start envisioning and dreaming about what life could look like. So it's our job to bring them back down to reality, but do it in a way that doesn't hamper their enthusiasm. They could be looking at homes outside their budget, and you can gently remind them that, guys, I understand that this home has a ton of features that you love. I can see the reasons of why you guys just absolutely love this house. But when we talked, we had some financial goals that we were really, really passionate about. We should make sure that we're comfortable with that before we make a move on a house that you guys might not love or might not be happy about or regret in the future based on the goals that we originally discussed. Keeping them grounded without killing excitement is crucial. We can help them make practical decisions while keeping the process fun and engaging. So to wrap it up today, we've explored all about the world of influencer personalities. Those are the enthusiastic, optimistic clients who thrive on connection and creativity. We have to build personal relationship, focus on the experience and keeping things light and fun. And we can keep them engaged and excited through the process. And those I personalities will become raving fans of you and your business. And it will be just so much fun to work with them. Next time on the Gritworks podcast, we're going to move into steadiness profiles, the S personalities, the clients who focus on security, stability, and consistency. These are the clients who may need a little more time to make decisions. These are what we would call our hand-holding clients who appreciate a calm, steady hand through the whole entire process. Make sure to tune in to that episode. And if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the Gritworks podcast and share it with your fellow friends, agents. Let's continue mastering client communication and closing more deals. Again, my name is Derek, and I'll see you next time as we dive into steadiness and the DISC profile system. Have a good week. This episode of the Gritworks podcast is sponsored by the Caldwell Group at eXp Realty, a real estate team in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio. The Caldwell Group is one of the top teams in the Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati markets that strives to produce results for their clients that they're working with. Their agents are top of the line when it comes to all new technology, understanding the market, and presenting results and value to clients. So if you are in the market in the Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area to either learn more about what your home might be worth in today's market, or just learning about the market in general and what it looks like to buy or sell in the market today, then hit us up in the comments below. We would love to reach out and talk with you more and share with you all the things that are happening inside Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you to the Caldwell Group for sponsoring today's episode.